Excellent!
We're streaming.
We are streaming.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to the awesome. No, welcome to Awesome Hardware. Not to be confused with the Awesome Hardware Show.
That is very true.
Not what it's called.
That's a terrible show. It's a competitor, and our goal is to drive them out of business. But thank you for joining us today. I hope that we sound okay.
Let me turn the.
I can tell that we can because Kyle has his audio on.
Twitch feed is off now.
So this is actually our second Awesome Hardware show, which I can say because they are shows.
Yes.
And thank you guys all for your support and your feedback and all the positivity we received for the first one. It's been fantastic. But I'm going to give a quick rundown. We're probably going to keep sort of explaining what the show is, at least for the first few shows, so people kind of understand what it is and how it works. So Kyle and I were both former employees of Newegg.com, and we did some live shows over there for a while. And we worked with hardware and computers and technology, and we really enjoyed that. And we wanted to keep that going, although both of us are now independents. So we have created Awesome Hardware, which is where Kyle and I come to you guys once a week on Tuesday evenings. We broadcast live to our Twitch channel, which is twitch.tv/awesomehardware. But we're going to be actually splitting this show in half. So the show you're watching right now is the first half, which is my show. The second half of the show is going to be Kyle's half. That will be Kyle's show. So we're going to be cutting the stream in the middle, and then we'll each be uploading these shows to our channels in the future. So you might be watching live, or you might be watching in the future. Either way, thank you for joining us, and I hope that sort of explains it. Kyle's channel, by the way, is Awesome Sauce Network, and I'm wearing one of his shirts.
I'm wearing a Paul's Hardware shirt.
And my channel is Paul's Hardware. Kyle's wearing one of my shirts.
I know you had me. I know you had your
fantastic?
doubts about me at first, Paul, but I got you covered.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do, Kyle.
This is why I shouldn't talk.
Since it's an evening show and we like to have a good time, we're also enjoying a finely crafted Belgian ale. This is New Belgium 1554 Black Lager. And Kyle is... What are you drinking, Kyle?
I'm drinking a Ranger IPA.
Kyle's got a Ranger IPA. We have the
New
New Belgium Folly Pack or something like that. All right, let's double check here and make sure everything is going good.
No one's freaking out in chat so far, so I think
people
we're
are saying the sound is all right.
It's a good sound.
Oh yeah, so that's the other thing about this show is we're going to be switching off locations since we're trying to collaborate and make things as even as possible.
Yeah, your garage looks very different today.
Last week Kyle came to my house. This week I'm over at Kyle's, and on we go. The other thing about our show is that we wanted to keep things somewhat structured, so we have segments set up. And we're going to start diving into those right now. I have 4 segments for my part of the show, and then Kyle has 4 as well. We're going to talk some tech news, of course, towards the end of the show and the beginning of Kyle's show. Let's stop talking about what the show is, and let's actually just do...
Let's show them what the show's about.
Just do Awesome Hardware, not show. Okay.
Someone said the audio is slightly out of sync with the video, but...
if the audio is out of sync with the video, that's generally on the Twitch side, and sometimes refreshing the page and re-queuing it can restarting your browsers can help.
It's not me, it's you.
We're hearing from other folks that the audio is alright. You know what I didn't do? I didn't tweet. I should be tweeting our show.
Tweet that ish. But
Kyle,
you also have to be hosting. This is your segment, Paul. This is your side of the show.
This is my segment.
There is no time to tweet.
While I tweet really quick, Kyle is going to explain to you guys how there's an awesome giveaway going on that you are eligible to enter.
Is this your system giveaway?
Yes, of course it is.
So Paul's given away an entire system. It's a silent build featured around an Antec silent case. Which case is it?
The P100 case.
The P100 case. There's lots of P involved, and you have a chance to win. It is U.S. only, I believe, but...
U.S. and Canada.
U.S. and Canada, but who can count them? But pretty awesome giveaway. I actually just started a giveaway today as well on my channel. Yeah, I'm giving away my Vermillo VA87M mechanical keyboard, along with a set of Vortex PBT plastic keycaps.
With those
fancy keycaps.
Bluish-hued keycaps with the sands, the Comic Sans?
No. Well, the Vermillo has Comic Sans on the spacebar with its branding, but with the Vortex keycaps, they're actually very classy and nice, and there's no Comic Sans to be seen.
Well, that's good.
And you will be getting that as well. Fully compatible with Cherry MX switches.
Aw, crap.
Oh, no. Did the battery just die?
I don't think the
battery's
dead.
Hold on. Is it back on?
It's back on.
Okay.
Why did it do that?
Shutter issues, man.
You didn't...
These DSLRs.
Oh, you don't have the auto shut off, do you? Oh, that might be
That's
a
Magic
that might
Lantern
be a
thing.
Magic Lantern thing.
Right.
That's gonna keep happening.
Well, that wasn't... What does the auto shut off do? Oh, you mean you disable the auto shut off?
Yeah.
But yours was still doing it, wasn't it?
It still does it after a longer period of time, but there's an
okay.
automatic auto shut off after, I think, about 15 minutes.
Well, at this point, since there's no avoiding it, we might as well just make a game out of it. Like, we gotta drink, like, 5 gulps or something every time the shutter closes. So.
That's right. We'll
On
do a
that note-
drinking game when the shutter closes. So yeah, to continue my update about the show and the continued show's development. Is that the right URL? Switch.tv/awesomehardware.
That's right.
Yes, okay, tweeted. Cool. We're continuing to develop the show. So last week we had hilarious hijinks with my camera, which is a 5D Mark II, which was turning off every 20 minutes or so, and Kyle would have to dive under the cable to turn it back on. Now we're using Kyle's camera, which is a 70D, and there might be some kind of camera function shut off disable thing. And
I've looked for it, but without
Okay.
Magic Lantern, I'm not too sure.
All right, yeah.
But I do have an emergency battery, like, just strapped to my chest at this point. Like, it's a fire extinguisher or something, just in case.
So we've got an extra
dies.
battery,
We're
because
prepared.
Kyle doesn't have an AC adapter.
That's right.
What I'm actually looking for, and maybe if any of you guys know of a solution to this, and you can tweet at me or something like that, I have about $250 in Amazon gift cards, and I'm going to buy a new camera specifically for streaming and stuff like that. So not necessarily the DSLR. I want like a video camera, a camcorder,
right.
that will stay on and that has an AC power and all that
Right.
good stuff. So if any of you guys know something, probably in the $250 to $500 range, I'm just looking for something that's easy to set up, has good visual quality, 1080. I'm hoping it can do 60 frames per second.
That'd be nice.
And then has an easy connection, and that will hopefully enhance our live shows.
Make sure the mini or micro HDMI isn't just
Yeah.
readout only.
That's also important. We've discovered that my LX100 can't do that. But all right, on with the show. Let us begin here. All right,
Yes.
I've got my shortcut keys. All right, my first segment here is called. Oh, I need to scroll over here. My first segment here is called the Games Report. So if it's not evident, we're going to be talking a little bit about video games, since that goes hand in hand with hardware. What do you build your computers for? You build them to play video games with, or not other things too, but we like video games. So here's an interesting article. This is over on fastcompany.com, and this is an article about a possible collaboration between Lionsgate and Telltale Games to create a video game TV mashup hybrid. And
how does that work?
It's fascinating. I was reading about this, and I wasn't quite sure how it was going to work. The article's right here, which we're showing you guys, which is probably just a bunch of text on the screen. So let's switch back to that.
Okay.
And I'll read you some stuff. Now, first off, Lionsgate announced this partnership with Telltale Games. Telltale Games made the games based on the Walking Dead series, yes.
And Wolf Among Us.
They've made a ton of other very popular games. They're a very well-respected development company. So this is a hybrid super show that is going to split its narrative between the worlds of television and video games. Lionsgate also did Orange is the New Black. They developed that show and distributed it via Netflix, so they also seem like a company that could have potentially the vision to see expanding into new mediums and creating entertainment of a different sort of style.
Sure.
And then the one thing that I wanted to point out from the article that they did point out is that this isn't necessarily the first time this type of thing has been done before. This they have attempted this, although I can't. Defiance actually was a TV show game split format. That was done by the Sci-Fi Channel, and I'm not very familiar with Defiance. According to this, it's still around. Took about 5 years and $100 billion to complete. The series and the game are both still around, but the game wasn't particularly well received. So obviously there's a bunch of development issues with doing something like this.
So is this kind of thing, this hybrid... What's the medium? Is the medium TV, or is the medium video game, or is it both?
The medium is both. So parts of the narrative are told on the show. Parts of the narrative are told through the playable game. So let's see here. Each Super Show episode will contain much more than a standard hour-long television episode, allowing Lionsgate to spread out episode releases to account for the time required to develop the game portions. Super Show episodes will always release both scripted and game portions of each episode at the same time on the consoles, tablets, phones, and computers, and then at some point down the line they'll release collections of the scripted portions for folks to stream like normal. So on launch, you've got a super show you can watch, which they're saying is like a long format TV show like Walking Dead. So they're saying an hour or possibly even longer than that. But also they're going to release like, you know, a chunk of the game to play or a chunk of the game's narrative to play at the same time. Okay. Now they're also not confirming here whether this is something associated with Walking Dead or not.
Right.
They're not even really hinting towards something like that.
I don't think it will be. Yeah.
This is probably going to be an entirely new intellectual property that they're working on, or maybe a new series at least based on something existing, which wouldn't be surprising. That would give it a little bit more of a foothold.
So obviously the episodes, the super shows that you watch on TV will drastically affect the gameplay itself when you're playing the video game.
I imagine.
But probably not vice versa, because like I couldn't imagine like the decisions you make and the outcome you get in the video game affects the TV show, because everyone's going to have a different experience in that regard, playing the game.
Yes and no, but I mean, things that happen in the video game, like if enough of the community is playing together, and like let's say they set up some sort of challenge for the community to take on, that could possibly affect future episodes of the show. If they say, hey,
based on a majority of performance.
Here's a bad guy who's locked up in a tower, and they need all of the community playing the game to come together and kind of work together, you know, to take him down or something like that. That might be, say, a cliffhanger in the TV shows, like what happens based on this, and then, you know, it's the thing with something like this is development and filming and everything for the show is as well as development of the game. It takes time, so
right.
It's going to be the type of thing that requires patience probably. But
sure.
I could see something like that happening where, you know, a month or so down the line when the next episode of the show comes out, yes, you know, everyone did take out this guy, and so they're moving it down that path. Or maybe, you know, it failed. There weren't enough people, and so, you know, the hero's, you know, love interest is now kidnapped still. I don't know, something like that.
You know what I could see happening, and what might actually work is if you had the super show air, like the premiere or whatever, and then after it airs, you play the game picking up where the episode left off, and that's almost like an episode in and of itself. So when the next episode airs a week later, it picks up from where you left off in the game. So it's like if you don't play the game, you might miss potentially a huge chapter of the plot line.
That would be cool.
It might kind of alternate, right? And it would kind of, you know, urge people to actually play and watch at the same time to get the full story.
Yeah, I mean, so the
possibility.
Like anytime something like this comes up, it's like there's so many different possibilities. There's so many different ways they can go with it. Obviously, the difficulties of production, I think, are already going to be the biggest hurdle to overcome for something like this. And it's something that I definitely like seeing because it's new, it's different. It's something that if it got enough momentum and it was making money, that's the thing. It's got to make money.
Of course.
If it makes money, they'll keep doing it, no matter how long it takes to develop or that sort of thing. But it's different, and I like that. And I like the idea of taking something in a new direction, and also the possibility of even getting, let's say, because, you know, there's a lot more people who watch TV than play video games.
Right.
So it could possibly be something that, you know, takes a TV watching audience and introduces them to a video game at the same time. So I like that. It seems like definitely an interesting concept. Obviously, really early stages still, but still pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's my first little bit to talk about here for this segment of the show, which is called the Games Report. I need to remember that. The Games Report.
The titles of these segments change weekly.
They do.
Folks, don't get too attached.
Well, we have different. No, we're gonna figure out what the segments are that people really like, and we'll bring those back. Be like, hey guys, it's time for another of your favorite segments. Kick Kyle in the balls, or whatever.
Not my
is.
favorite.
I mean, it's a working title, so we'll move on.
It's the only time you'll get to interact with my balls.
Here's another little story. This is not a whole lot to say here. It's kind of a pat on the back story, but Steam has actually just recently hit a new milestone.
Wow.
125 million active users. Bravo, Steam. 8.9 million concurrent peak users. So at the same time, there were 8.9 million people logged in and playing Steam, which is pretty impressive. Pretty impressive.
It's probably when Goat Simulator launched.
I think Steam...
9 million people.
I think Steam...
Being a goat.
Steam is one of those kind of rallying points for PC gamers in particular. I mean, it is. I mean, I've heard people who don't like Steam, but I think If you look at the distribution platforms that are out there on PC, Steam is definitely the favorite. So it's great to see that many people playing Steam games and playing video games in general.
Yep.
A few other stats. They actually passed the 100 million mark in late September of 2014. So it has only taken about 5 or 6 months to get from 100 to 125.
Wow.
So that's massive growth.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a huge jump. That's 50 million up from January 2014. That's huge. And Steam now offers 4,500 games with 400 million pieces of user-generated content contributed by members of the Steam community.
Which Steve has all of those.
And Steve is responsible for about 95% of that, give or take. He's fallen off a little bit lately, but you know he's got a lot going on. He's got a lot on his plate.
He'll get back up there.
So, but yeah, congratulations everyone who's a PC gamer and games on Steam.
I'm curious to see how those numbers stack up against console readings.
It would, yeah, that would be
really
a good question. If you want to compare something like this to PlayStation Network or Xbox Live,
and even more interestingly, how much growth there is with a console versus the PC. You know what I mean? Like how much growth there is. Not just like sheer numbers, but I mean jumping 50 million since January 2014. I think massive. The console would be hard pressed to pull off that kind of number.
Well, I mean there was a lot of talk as the next generation consoles before they came out last year. There's a lot of talk about PC games are catching up and all this kind of thing, and then the consoles did finally come out. The performance wasn't quite it wasn't quite that point where like, oh, now it's hard to make a PC that matches the level of performance. Like it was pretty much right out of the gate. They were already somewhat underperforming.
Right.
So, PC gaming is dead. Obviously not. We can put that one to rest.
Yep.
And then also, I think this is fantastic because when it comes to the hardware as well as the software in PC gaming, I think PC gaming is one of those things that's going to keep DIY PCing alive for a very long period of time, and that's something that all of us are happy about because if you watch the show, chances are you're into DIY PCing. All right, I have one more story to talk about in Metal Games review section, and you guys might know what this is already. So this was announced today. Grand Theft Auto 5 has been delayed.
This hurts me.
It's been delayed one more time. One more time.
I'm furious. Go ahead before I go on a rant.
Also, quick aside, welcome Fractal Josh. Thank you for joining the chat.
Hey,
and also, we have to mention that Strider, also a significant portion of the Steam community, is represented by Strider there as well.
Yes.
All right, so GTA 5, right? It's difficult for me, like, what to even say about GTA 5 at this point in time, simply because it's like it's one of those roller coaster rides that you've been on so many times. You're just like, well, whatever,
The thing is,
happen.
Rockstar has gotten to the point where they know we will hold out as long as necessary, and we will still they know that we're suckers. They've just figured it out. We could push it 5 years from now. We'll still make record-breaking sales.
It's like
it's annoying that they know it and they're acting on that knowledge.
It's like one of those bad relationships where you have a guy who's just like a douchebag and an a-hole, and like some girl who just for some reason is just totally like hung up on him. And he knows that she's just like whipped and she'll do whatever. And granted, you could do this the other way around too. There's guys and girl situation, but he's just like treating her like, I'll show up later. Are you gonna come over later tonight? Yeah, maybe I'll be. Yeah, I'll like next week.
Oh yeah, I got tied up. I'll be there next week.
But we like that poor girl are gonna sit here waiting, and when they finally show up at the door, you think we're gonna be like, screw you for being so inconsistent and leaving us. Shit. No.
We'll come running back.
We're gonna be right there. You're finally here. I'm so happy.
Because we have
it's one of those precedents that's only around because the games are so entertaining.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say. So, but this is a Ars Technica article with a fantastic little graph here, just kind of showing. So that the peaks on this graph are when you first heard, hey, it might be coming out, and then it's leading down, and when it would intersect with the bottom line would be that release date, but then they push it back.
So
and
the peaks are new release dates.
Yeah, the peak every time there's
a
peak is
changing or is telling the chick.
Yeah, and
later.
And when shown in this format, it's a bumpy ride.
Yeah.
It's a bumpy ride, and just like the inconsistency and the
what happened here? What happened?
So their first official window they said was it's coming out in fall 2014. That's what they said, PC release date. And then fall 2014 came and went, and people were like, it's winter now, and GTA 5's not out. So there was a brief period of time there where it was just kind of in limbo. And
just no updates. No updates from Rockstar.
There was a...
The boyfriend didn't even call to tell her that he would be late.
So, but we're still just waiting. We're still just waiting there by the phone. But yeah, so it's only been pushed back another 2.5, 3 weeks only. February.
For now.
April,
who knows when it's going to be pushed back again.
April 14th is the new release date. By April 14th, it will have been nearly 19 months or 574 days since Grand Theft Auto 5 first launched on consoles. It will have been 6 months since it came out on the on the next gen consoles.
That's got to be a record. That's got to be some kind of a record.
Anyway,
it's disgusting. Rockstar, you were a douchebag boyfriend.
You're a douchebag boyfriend, Rockstar. That's
you heard it here.
That's how we're chalking this one up.
Yeah.
All right, I have one last little bit in my gaming segment. It's called Nothing to Report, and I was trying to flesh it out more, and it didn't happen. But Nothing to Report, these are stories where nothing happened, and so we're just going to reaffirm nothing has happened.
Let's report on
AMD's 300 series graphics cards.
Nothing to report.
Nothing to say about those.
Yeah.
We haven't heard zero information this week as compared to last week. As well as Half-Life 3, still not confirmed.
Not confirmed at all.
Unconfirmed. Nothing to report there.
Reporting nothing.
And so endeth the games report. Thank you for watching my first segment. Let's get a time check here.
Beautiful.
That first segment took a
half an hour.
20 minutes. These are we're shooting for like 7 to 10 minutes each. That's cool though. All right, moving on.
Each awesome hardware will be 10 hours.
Moving on to the next segment.
Okay.
We are bringing back by popular demand. It's not by popular demand. I just did it.
But it sounds good when you say that.
But it sounds good by popular
people are
demand.
like, yeah, I really wanted that.
All right,
they think that they wanted that.
So we're moving. I'm gonna link a straw poll in chat for you guys.
Okay.
And we're moving on to Sword Fight once again. I just like the name of this one. So Sword Fight is where I come up with a somewhat controversial topic, and Kyle and I take opposing viewpoints, and we argue it, we debate it out a little bit. So since we were just talking about GTA 5, Kyle has pre-ordered GTA 5.
I have.
Whereas I have not. I've talked a little bit about my kind of opinion on that before. But the question here is just going to be about pre-orders in general. And oh, that's a fine shortcut. And the question is, should you pre-order video games? This is something that's been debated pretty extensively, and it's also a question that I have a feeling a lot of you already have a pretty strong opinion about. Nevertheless, we're going to debate it here, and you guys can let us know what you think by going to that link and voting on this straw poll, and then we will check the results.
All right.
And see how good. Oh, wait, wrong button. And we'll see how good we are.
All right.
At
So since I've already pre-ordered GTA 5,
yes.
I suppose it just makes sense for me to argue the pro for pre-ordering games.
Okay.
So I'm gonna just say yes, you should pre-order games. I think it's a good thing, and you know, just like this segment goes. I mean, this isn't like my absolute opinion, but that's the name of the game, right? So all right, so here we go. So I think pre-ordering games is a good thing. It can get you, like the survey says, cool bonuses. I remember when I signed up, the reason why I pre-ordered for GTA, let me just start there, is A, I knew I was going to buy it anyway. I knew no matter what happened in my life, I would be buying that game the day it launched. So when I saw that there was an option for pre-order, I was like, okay, let's check it out. Let's see if they have anything additional to offer that I won't necessarily get if I buy it the day it launches. Okay. And naturally, they had a pretty enticing deal where if I pre-ordered, I would get $1 million of in-game cash.
$1 million.
And you can buy a lot of stuff for $1 million in GTA 5.
Oh, it's in-game?
In-game.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. I would have pre-ordered a lot sooner.
Do you know what you get now that they've pushed it back another 2.5 weeks?
Right. I mean, you get another additional $200K, right?
200 grand.
200 grand.
So now 1.2 million has been Kyle's payoff money.
That's right.
For
you
pre-ordering.
mean I still get the 200 grand even though I already pre-ordered it before? It's not people who pre-order from this point.
What they're trying to see, you've forgotten to be angry about this, Kyle. You're supposed to say, I pre-ordered this game with the expectation it was going to launch on this date that they told me.
Sure.
And now they have changed that date.
But they've also incentivized me more. They
gave you more. They gave you more digital dollars.
See, that's cool.
So
I think that's why pre-ordering games can work out depending on the developer.
Okay.
If the developer is honest and legit, and you trust them, and by trusting them, I mean you've purchased games from them before that were good, and they've had many successful launches. You've been satisfied with their service in the past. And there's nothing that they've done to make you think that they'd be ripping you off if you pre-ordered their game.
Okay.
I think in that regard, I think it's cool. I'm stoked to get $1.2 million that you won't have when the game starts. I'm going to be flying around in a jet, you'll be in a Pinto.
I'm going to be totally poor.
Pre-order that shit.
But I'm not going to take any of your dirty pre-order money, even if you offer it to me.
Oh, fine.
Not that you have.
Dirty.
So... All right, so I'm going to take the opposite viewpoint, and I think that no, you should not pre-order video games, and here is why. So the one big reason why you should not pre-order a video game is because you have no idea what kind of game that's actually going to be when it launches. Now, in this particular example, GTA 5, you could argue that against that most, but I'm saying in many situations you really don't know what the game is going to be, which means that up front, before you've had the chance to play the game, before you've had the chance to read any reviews by qualified reviewers, you are just saying, here, take my money, and whatever you come out with, you will have my money no matter what. So you don't get that vetting process where you are judging the game, or you're at least able to do some research beforehand. The other thing is that, you mentioned freebies and that sort of thing. So, yes, you can get freebies. Yes, they can give you incentives prior to launch. But in my experience, a lot of these freebies that you get are just other skins or something like cosmetic that doesn't really do much for you in the game, and I don't place a very high value on, which I generally look at and say that should have just been included in the game outright. Or, worse than that, the freebies are some sort of game-breaking thing where it is such a powerful weapon that you get that suddenly, if you didn't pre-order the game, you are somehow overpowered compared to other people who might not have pre-ordered.
You mean you're underpowered if you didn't?
Yeah, see, you're underpowered if you did not pre-order.
Where it almost becomes a requirement, like you feel obligated to do it.
Yes.
And you feel the pressure. Yeah, sure.
And then I think that was where all the points I had.
No, that makes sense. I think at the end of the day, though, this kind of boils down to, based on both of our sides that we've taken, is it depends on the game. Mm-hmm. I think something like Grand Theft Auto 5 is different than something like Strafe, the huge Kickstarter game.
Yes.
Right, where you don't know who these people are who are developing the game. You've never bought a game from them before. You don't know how it's going to be. Ah, okay.
My other point was with regards to games like on Kickstarter games, crowdfunded video games, and I have a completely unverified stat that something like I think something like 2/3 of crowdfunded video games were never actually brought to market.
Right.
And I feel bad repeating that because, again, it's completely unverified.
If anyone can verify what Paul just said, we would love to hear about it. But 98% of
statistics are made up on the spot anyway, so I think I can go ahead.
That sounds like a statistic you just made up.
That's your worst case scenario, is crowdfunding a game and then you get nothing. Right. Not even a crappy game. Yeah. Just like
not even a crappy game.
Not even a terrible game where you could say at least I have something of substance here.
Some game to hate. Okay. Cool.
Okay, we have another sword fight topic. Oh wait, but we need to go and check. Check the results.
No.
Wow.
Wow.
Wait, wrong button. That is some...
No pre-ordering.
Completely... So we got...
No one.
I'm proud of you guys that not one of you voted yes. Which basically said Kyle's wrong.
That is the choice. That was scripted, alright? That was all scripted.
Alright, so we have... Most people are saying no. We have a few people saying sometimes. And, again, this is a strange, like... issue for me to be debating right as the topic of GTA 5 is on the forefront, because again, I was telling Kyle, GTA 5 is one of the games that I am going to buy when it comes out.
Yeah.
I wouldn't probably lose anything by pre-ordering it. In fact, I probably would gain that $1 million of digital monies, but simply because all of this like back and forth had come out about pre-ordering games right at the same time, and that was the next game where I was like, I could pre-order that. Wait.
Wait,
I'm
everything
not
I've just
supposed to.
learned. Yeah.
So yeah, so GTA 5 is in fact one of these situations where I think
It's
I
a unicorn.
might actually do it. It's one of those where like I've played it on Xbox 360. I know I'm going to enjoy it. It's a reputable company who has produced very, very popular and fun games in the past. So yes, in those situations are when I would say
to put things in perspective, GTA 5 is the first game I pre-ordered in like 10 years.
Okay.
No joke.
I
have not pre-ordered a game in that long.
Definitely a unicorn.
Yeah.
All right, we got another straw poll for you guys.
It's just pasted 3 times.
That's what you're supposed to do.
No, you're right.
So I've heard.
GG.
All right, so our next straw poll, I have a couple stories actually to go along with this straw poll.
Do you mind if I go to the bathroom?
You have to go to the bathroom?
Really bad.
Really?
It'll be so quick. I'm very fast.
Yeah, you go.
All right, I'll be right back.
When you gotta go, you gotta go.
You gotta go.
I really hope your camera doesn't turn off.
I don't want it to be that kind of stream.
Wow.
Get it?
All right, Kyle's taking a restroom break. We'll keep track of this, and I think what we should do is come up with some sort of repercussion for Kyle if he's really got to pee that bad. I went before the stream. I'm going to hold it for you guys. But, oh, excuse me. But I'll proceed in Kyle's absence. You can't hear it on the mic. It's a little bit further out there, I think. All right, so I linked that straw poll over there. This is some information about virtual reality and virtual reality headsets. So what we actually have here is Valve, who just announced earlier this week the Steam VR Dev Kit. So GDC is coming up next week. It's March 3rd, I believe. And Valve has launched, or I keep saying launched, Valve is talking about this Steam VR Dev Kit, which is basically a Valve-sponsored dev kit for virtual reality. So now not only do we have Oculus in the game, not only do we have Razer in the game with their OpenVR that they did at that they did at CES, but now we have Valve who's coming out with their own Steam VR dev kit, and that was announced earlier this week. And I don't think there's a whole lot more information on this. Plus, I'm just kind of showing this as an example. And now we also have NVIDIA. Good lord! Oh, hi, Kyle.
Hello.
Kyle's back. Kyle is doing his very see, Kyle brought libations back with him.
See.
So that makes it okay.
Self-redemption.
Oh, it's the porch swing single
Very
ale.
important.
Right. Which, good lord.
There's
What the hell is going on here?
unlock this for you.
Alright, so I've just been informing everyone that we have two new VR kits that are talked about. That they're going to be
NVIDIA.
Yeah. So we have Steam and we have NVIDIA. And all that comes around to the question, is VR the future? That is my question for you guys. And I'm going to paste this in chat again. So
okay. So which side are you taking, Paul? Oh,
Fractal Josh is leaving. He's having audio issues. All right, Josh.
Really?
I'll see you later.
Later, man.
Thanks for joining us. By the way, guys, so we're building our channel right now, and we can use your support for that. The more subscribers we get, the more views that we get, the better case we have to make with Twitch to get ourselves partnered. Once you're partnered, Twitch will do encoding for you. So right now we're streaming at about 3,500 kilobits per second.
Yep.
And that's what you guys get. But once we are partnered, Twitch takes that stream that we give them and they re-encode it, and that allows you guys to watch at different bit rates, and that will allow people with more limited connections to actually watch. So if you're watching right now and it's stuttery or it's slow, it's probably because it's a higher bit rate and it takes up more bandwidth and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, but back to my question, which is VR the future? There's yes and no and maybe. I've given you guys 3 possible options here. Kyle and I, though, are going to debate here, and we didn't decide what side we're going to take. Do you think VR is the future or not? How are you feeling? What do you feel right now?
I'm going to say no.
No.
I'm going to say it's not the future.
Okay.
I will say, however, that there is a future in VR.
Aha!
Ho-ho!
What a twist.
But I don't believe that we're going to see a full conversion from the way video games are played now to the way they're played in VR.
Okay.
I just feel like there's something to be said with having a monitor and some kind of controller, whether it be a keyboard or mouse. And granted, you can use those peripherals as well in VR. But I don't think VR is for everyone. I think the way things are now is more suitable for a wider range of demographic. As opposed to VR, which, I mean, in my opinion, I get dizzy within the first 10 minutes of putting on any kind of VR headset. And unless they find some way to perfect that, even if they do, oh God!
Alright.
Give us a minute! Emergency! Wait, oh, it's battery.
Oh no, it's the battery?
Battery.
Oh good lord.
Got a bad battery.
Hey everyone.
It's okay.
What actually? So what I can do when this happens?
Nothing. You can't do anything.
I can go back to this view, and that way you guys only see like a quarter of a black screen.
Oh good.
Yeah.
Oh goody.
The good news is that the stream is not dying outright. Where that's knock on wood. Do you have any wood in your apartment, Cal?
Hey, is this turning on?
I will. It says ensure lens is attached. What's going on here?
It says ensure lens is attached. It is. Lens is attached.
Either that or.
Aha! Aha! Now?
Yes, we're back.
Woo!
Hooray!
Oh, thank God.
Good lord.
Okay. I'm gonna put this on the charger.
Charge
the battery.
You know, that's funny because of all the things that we've done to prepare for this show, the one thing that we probably should have done
is check the battery.
The camera. Like a good camera to use. We both have good cameras that are good for certain things, but for the long-form live show, not quite as much. All right, so Kyle just made his case for VR and whether or not it is the future. I will make my case for VR and why it is the future. I think it is the future because whenever you watch movies about the future, they're always using some type of thing where they have this like thing in front of them, and you know it's like, you know, they're taking things and moving them, and they like swish, you know. And
so
then,
Hollywood is your reason? Because it's in movies.
That's just the first thing that came to mind, so that's why I decided to start arguing it. So you argued against. Actually, I had more points to make against it. I think VR is the future in certain ways. I will say that Microsoft at their event with Windows 10 and what they were showing with their glasses,
the Holocaust,
the Holo whatever.
That's not the Holocaust.
That's awful.
She just slipped out.
The Microsoft Holocaust glasses. No, the hologram.
Hologram.
Good lord.
I only know so many hollow words.
Good lord. Okay. I thought that was a compelling demonstration for how viewing something with like an overlay, like augmented reality, that type of virtual reality, can be extremely helpful for tutorials and for showing people how to do things and that sort of thing. Since I've already taken up way too much time and we should probably move on to the next segment first,
sure.
I will say that the flip side of it that you already mentioned with nausea and people getting sick and motion sickness, I think is the biggest thing that needs to be overcome still. And I feel like I've said that before. But let's move on.
Sure.
That was our sword fight segment. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for enjoying the sword fight segment.
Well done.
I think I said sword fart.
Totally different segment. Coming soon.
Totally different segment. Let's move on, though, to my next segment, which is called...
This one sounds interesting.
This is interesting. I like my segment. What I need is an echo wave. We need some, like,
we need the Inception
effects.
button.
Oh, yeah. So this is called Tales from Space. And there should be an echo.
Right.
.com. Talesfromspace.com. It's supposed to be Tales from Space, so here's
Okay.
So Tales from Space. I have a few space-related news stories here to share with y'all.
Okay.
Let's start with the moon law, right? That sounds exciting.
Sure.
Fantastically exciting. Did you guys know that there's laws on the moon?
Laws? Like,
well, they're trying to establish...
You can't jaywalk? What do you
theoretically,
mean, Paul?
They're trying to establish laws on the moon. So, first off, the weird thing is that there's a company called... What's the stupid company called? Lost the name of the company. Bigelow's. There's a company called Bigelow.
The Deuce
Yeah,
Bigelows?
yeah, they're called Bigelow. And they were contacting the FAA, the U.S. Federal Aviation Administration, regarding a legal debate about private companies setting up shop on the moon. Now, this whole article is kind of going back and forth about, like, you know, the FAA is saying, you know, what the procedures they need to go through in order to get approval for this, and that, you know, they can't own land on the moon. You can operate on the moon, but, you know, there's a legal framework that needs to be in place. All I was doing this whole time was scanning this entire freaking article, trying to figure out, what are they doing? What are they doing on the moon? What business do you have opening on the moon? The only thing that I've heard of that seems somewhat feasible is mining operations, which is probably the case. But what I actually did find and I believe it's further down this article. Yeah, let me see if I can pull this up. What I did find is a fascinating little visual guide here about a moon base, living and working on the moon. So,
Okay.
The news story itself about the FAA and the legalities of operating on the moon, I got bored of that story, so I just moved on to this.
Someone asked a good question.
Yeah.
Who owns the moon?
Who owns the moon? Well, I know the U.S. put the flag there
Right.
when we landed there. So
Yeah.
I think that means it's ours.
That wasn't fake, right? That was real.
No, it was
Yeah.
real. NVIDIA
Okay.
approved it.
NVIDIA did.
Yeah.
We should trust them with everything.
But anyway,
just like their frame buffer advertisements.
So here's a moon base, living and working on the moon.
Okay.
And you can see possible. So there's an oxygen mining base.
Sweet.
There's robots, of course. So first they send up these robots, and they have these really fancy robots here with these big long arms, and they use these to sort of do some terraforming, because apparently the moon, the soil on the moon is rich enough that you could plant some plants. Some information here about daily life support requirements for one person on the moon. You need about 1.85 pounds of oxygen, and you need a lot less water on the moon. You only need about 1.6 liters of water per day compared to 10 that you need on Earth, so that's interesting.
Like in your body or consume?
Like you need to consume that much less.
Oh, okay.
It's probably just because of the lower
I don't even consume that much water
so
on
your body
Earth.
doesn't work as hard, is what I'm guessing.
I'm surprised I'm not dead.
You should. Water is very important. And then they talk about the components of the lunar soil, and they have like look at this. Look at the farm.
That's a farm?
Moon farming. This is this reminds me of Civilization Beyond Earth.
It looked like a PCB almost.
Yeah. Anyway, though, so the moon should be open for business soon. We're all going to go there, and we're going to spend some time. It's going to be fantastic. All right, that's my story number 1.
Sweet.
We've already taken up way more time than intended, so if I rush through these, forgive me. All right, this next one's awesome. How would you guys like a space submarine?
What?
Yes.
What does it go under?
It's a space
It
submarine.
doesn't go underwater.
It's a space submarine, Kyle. Who freaking cares?
I do.
So NASA's talking about this space submarine. I should show you guys what we're looking
So
at.
instead of seamen, are they called spacemen?
Yeah, it's a lot less suggestive. That's disappointing.
Not into it.
All right, so Titan is Saturn's largest moon.
Right.
And Titan has these large seas of methane and ethane.
Gas.
Yes, they're gas, but
Gassy.
since it is cold on Titan,
It's cold.
all right, I really hope this doesn't play some terrible
ad.
ad for you guys or anything.
Titan.
I think if you can hear it, it should be quiet. I'm just going to turn the volume down.
Love
You might-
the motion graphics in this.
Yeah, so there's this fantastic 3D thing. So this is the submarine on Titan,
Swimming in the gas.
swimming in
The methane
a
gas.
methane gas ocean. Since it's cold there, the methane gas is liquid form, and it goes into the ocean, and it does these green lights that it shoots out. we should probably have a much more like. Here, the fantastic thing is comes later on when they see it starts shooting out these. So this is the spread weapon. If you guys have ever played Contra, you get the spread weapon towards the end,
Yep.
and that's eventually going to be the goal of this submarine, is to develop artificial intelligence and superior weaponry so it can come back, attack, and take over and destroy the Earth.
No, that doesn't sound right. I don't
No?
know. I don't think the article mentioned anything about that.
Well, all I know is that it's a freaking space submarine.
Space submarine.
And the
all you
other
need to know.
other thought that I immediately had was that the other planet or the other celestial, how do you say that? It's a moon.
Celestial?
Europa is a moon of
Europa.
Jupiter,
Oh,
and
yes.
it is thought to be one of the most likely places in our solar system, other than Earth, to harbor life.
Okay.
Europa is covered by ice, so what I think they need to make is a crazy space submarine drill that they launch at Europa, right? And then it comes in like that, and then it's got a big drill, drills through the ice, and then is a submarine as well to go under the, and like Captain Nemo, you know, sailing around the seas of Europa.
I'm glad you don't work for NASA, Paul. I'd be very concerned for our solar system.
I think NASA should hire me. Okay, I have one more space story to talk about, and then we're going to move on to some regular tech news, and then we're going to move on to Kyle's
Hey!
side of the show. Okay, all right. My last space story is a little bit more practical. Sorry about that. This is about DARPA. DARPA's always...
DARPA?
DARPA.
Oh, DARPA.
DARPA is always quite fascinating. I'm never quite... Every time I read something about DARPA, I'm at the same time like fascinated with the advanced technology that they sort of play with.
Yes.
But I'm also like scared because they're like a shady government organization.
It's like Skynet could potentially destroy the world.
Like if you watch, was it Lost? Or did you ever used to watch Lost?
I tried watching Lost.
I was in the Lost for like the first 2 or 3 seasons, and there was some DARPA stuff in there, which is kind of... DARPA is the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, if you are not familiar with them. And they have been they've started the flight test phase, or they're about to start the flight test phase of the Airborne Launch Assist Space Access Program, or ALASA, A-L-A-S-A. And they're going to do a demonstration run in late 2015. And basically what they have done here is they've taken, I believe it's an F-15. Yes, they've taken an F-15 fighter, and they've outfitted it with a rocket assembly that goes underneath, which is a launch vehicle.
All right.
And once the F-15 gets up to a sufficient altitude, the rocket releases and ignites, and then it carries the payload into orbit, which is pretty cool. There's a video here, and yeah, so here...
What's the payload? Does it blow up a planet?
Yeah, so the payload is this missile? No, it's not blow up planet. I imagine you could. Alderaan. They're on Alderaan.
Yeah.
But the idea here is that it's very expensive to launch a satellite into orbit. That's the problem they're trying to solve.
Gotcha.
And often smaller satellites have to get kind of like hitch a ride with larger payloads, so they have to kind of wait their turn in order to get up into that satellite band
it's like Uber.
Yeah, where they like to put the geosynchronous satellites. So this plan would allow you to basically bypass that, and it would allow them to launch small payload satellites into orbit of 100 pounds or less for less than $1 million per
100 pounds?
Payload per 100 pounds.
That's okay.
Less than $1 million.
What a deal.
Yeah. It's actually quite a deal.
And is this open to the public? Anyone can send shit into space for under $1 million?
That has not necessarily been established.
Okay.
But I have to assume that for less than $1 million, I mean, every Joe Blow on the street's going to be wanting to launch a satellite into orbit. So that gave me the idea to ask you guys, what would you launch into space or into low Earth orbit if you could launch something that was 100 pounds or less into space? Would it be a satellite, like to do something special for you?
No, that's lame.
Like some data connection or something? Would it be... What else? Uber for satellites. That'd be a good idea.
$1 million space. I mentioned earlier that we should send Joanne into space.
Joanne...
Because she's under 100 pounds.
She's under 100 pounds.
She meets all the requirements, and it'd be fun to just watch her in space, see what she does.
Probably Joanne and like a flight suit would be more than 100 pounds. But I guess if you're really just concerned about hitting that weight limit, she can go without the flight suit. Is that what you're saying, Kyle?
She wouldn't do much in space without the flight suit. I mean, although get more viewers that way.
So we're gonna start a Kickstarter.
Send Joanne to space.
To send Joanne into space, and then it will be Joanne Space Lover, and she will do tech reviews from low Earth orbit.
It'll be called Joanne with the Stars.
I like it.
Yeah.
Okay, we are now nearing the end of the first half of this show. Thanks for sticking with us, guys. Thanks for joining us.
It's only been an hour.
Has it been an hour?
About.
Wow. The idea originally, by the way, was for us to each do about a half an hour.
Yeah, it didn't work.
But we're both of the opinion that if we are having a good time, then we're just going to keep going. So you all let us know how things are going for you too.
Yeah.
Thanks for chatting and all that good stuff. All right, let's talk about tech news. Tech news, because that's what it's time for.
Okay.
I need to get things in order here. All right. So we're gonna do a little bit of tech news on my side of the show, and then we're also gonna kick Kyle's side of the show off with tech news. So Kyle this time got to steal all of the choicest cuts of tech news stories, but don't worry, that does not mean that I don't have nothing for y'all. Although, my first story I neglected to link. Hold on just a moment. Kyle?
Hurry up, Paul.
Alright, we're good. Thank you, Kyle. Alright. Our first tech news story of the day is about HGST. HGST is Hitachi Global Storage Technologies. They're actually owned by WD. or they're a Western digital company, and HGST is ready to launch the first helium-filled 10 terabyte hard drive.
I heard about this.
So, I don't know, what are you guys more excited about? None of this? I'm just not sure how excited people get about mechanical storage these days. What I was going to say is 10 terabytes, that's impressive. 10 terabytes on a drive. The helium thing is pretty cool. Now, basically what they're doing with the helium is what they've figured out is like hard drives, most mechanical hard drives that you find out there, they're hermetically sealed. Yep. So I think that's the right term, hermetically. But there's no air in or out. They have a breather hole on them, but that's about it. Which means that you can't get anything inside that housing. But they were filled with standard air, like you and I breathe every day. What they discovered is that helium, I think it's because it is less dense and it's lighter. If they fill the drives with helium, it creates less stuff for the drives for the spinning elements of the drives to come into contact with. There's less turbulence overall, which means they can pack stuff closer together.
What stuff does it come in contact with? Just air particles, or?
Well, what you're talking about with a mechanical spinning hard drive is you're talking about a layer of platters, which is probably 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 or 7 sometimes, and they're all spinning at very high RPMs, usually between 5,400 and 7,200 RPMs. And then you have a set of read-write heads that moves out over them in order to read or write the data to or from them. Those drives spinning at that frequency, there's only a certain amount of space you can get between them before just air moving over the surfaces of them, due to the fact that the surfaces, regardless of how finely milled they are, they're still not completely flat. There's turbulence. As turbulence buildups, it causes vibration. And vibration is like the enemy of hard drives. Because you need vibration kills the ability of the drive read-write head to move itself over the right area on the platter, and so on and so forth.
So helium creates less turbulence.
Helium creates less turbulence, which has allowed them to wedge more storage into your hard drives. I'm gonna go the conspiracy theory route here, though.
Oh,
have you noticed hard drives? Right, hard drives.
Yeah.
They kind of topped out for a while.
Okay. Yeah.
We hit 2 terabytes.
Right.
And then we barely kind of hit 4 terabytes, but it took a while to get to 4 terabytes.
And then just 10 terabytes
so,
out of nowhere. Yeah.
So my theory here is that the push from SSDs coming up underneath has really forced hard drive manufacturers either to innovate more in order to create drives with higher capacity, or they were sitting on stuff because they didn't need the higher capacity,
and now they do.
And
it's like a secret weapon.
Now they need it. Now they need it. So
helium bombs.
Yeah,
dropping helium bombs.
Exactly. So I've had the story up on the.
That is a good conspiracy theory.
It's just a conspiracy theory.
Ooh, segment, new segment, conspiracy theories.
That would be a good segment.
Yeah,
good segment. We need to remember. Don't forget that.
I won't.
Leave it up to you. All right. So to round out the specs here, filled with helium. 1.43 terabytes of storage capacity per platter on the drive, which is really, really impressive areal density.
Yeah. And
I used that term properly this time, areal density. And then they're also talking about a possible variant with fewer platters, a 6-platter variant with 1.66 terabytes per platter. Pretty impressive. But yeah, 10 terabyte storage, that's exciting. I'm excited. I know it's just storage and it's not. It's just mechanical, but I like pushing.
This is.
We need more space.
Big news, though.
We always need more space.
There's never been a 10 terabyte mechanical hard drive.
No, there hasn't.
This is definitely news.
All right. I didn't see the 8 though. Did we skip over the 8?
I think
it
so.
seemed like they jumped from 6 to 10.
Yeah. Just how Microsoft skipped over Windows 9.
I'm gonna try to burn through the rest of my news stories for you guys, so we can move on to Kyle's because his are more interesting. But let's talk about ASUS, who has just refreshed their motherboard lineup with USB 3.1. Now, there's actually quite a few motherboard manufacturers who have refreshed their motherboard lineups with USB 3.1. Excuse me.
Yes.
ASRock and MSI have both already done this. Now, I was a little concerned right now because I have an X99 Deluxe from ASUS, and I was like, oh no, did they just did they just rev it? And now I'm like, oh, I've got the older revision. No, they're dropping in a add-on PCI Express card, which is honestly the most practical way to do this with their motherboards. So the add-on PCI Express card will give you either, there's 2 variants of it, And you'll either get 2 Type A, so that's your standard USB plug that we're all familiar with, 2 standard Type A plugs that are USB 3.1, or you'll get 1 USB Type C connector. And the Type C is the new one that's flippable, and it's smaller, and it's very durable, and we saw those at CES, and those are pretty cool. Now, if you guys are wondering what USB 3.1 is all about, fear not.
Wait, so are these cards being shipped with all these motherboards from this point on?
From this point on.
And then can you buy these individually? If you, let's say, for your example, you already have this, you can buy it individually.
Yes, you can. Okay. The USB 3.1 add-on cards are also available. I think they're $40.
Very nice.
Which
one would you get? Would you get the USB-C connector? Or would you get the 2 USB 3.1 Type A connectors?
That's a good question. I don't have any devices that connect with Type C, so I'd probably be happy with the Type A. I'd probably prefer the 2 of them, and especially since it's a back. But honestly, right now, I don't have a huge need for this. I mean, give me 6 months and when there's more USB 3.1 devices, and maybe I'll change my mind.
Yeah.
But I have another little story here about USB 3.1. Tom's Hardware actually got their hands on some of the USB 3.1 hardware that's out there.
All right.
So to give you guys a rundown of what USB 3.1 brings to the table, and USB 3.1, by the way, is different from the USB Type-C connector. The Type-C connector is the plug. It's reversible. The USB 3.1 is the protocol, which gives you double the bandwidth, so up to 10 gigabits per second from 5 gigabits per second, and pretty cool, up to 100 watts of power delivery if it matches the new specification for USB power. I think it's like USB 2.0 power.
So that could charge your mobile devices much faster.
Yes.
Very cool.
So it can charge devices faster. But no, up to 100 watts of power delivery means that you don't need a power brick for your laptop anymore. Or you might still need a power brick, but you don't need a power plug for it. It's just a single USB plug.
Gotcha.
And then you could potentially have a single USB plug from your laptop to like a workstation or something like that gives you your monitor, your power, and your data connection.
Oh, I'm so glad that the days of power bricks are shortly behind us, or soon behind us.
So that's pretty cool.
That is nice.
So just to show you guys really quick some of these performance numbers, the results. I'm just going to skip to that. So here we go. Testing on the ASMedia controller with USB 3.1, they were able to hit 700 to 733 megabytes per second on sequential reads and sequential writes, compared to the X99 Express USB 3.0 connector, which was getting more in the range of 420-ish.
Wow.
So yeah, double the bandwidth.
Faster than SSDs.
Double the theoretical. And yeah, it's something. What they're saying here is that there's a lot of people who right now don't even have devices that can saturate USB 3.0 by itself. You need either a really fast USB drive or an external SSD, which not everyone has. I mean, the SSDs are still a luxury item for like a internal drive for a lot of folks. So yeah, you know, there's still some distance to go. It's a new thing, but I'm excited about it. And then the other comparison is with not FireWire, the Apple one, Thunderbolt. Yeah. Which does up to 20 gigabits per second. Yeah. And then that's Thunderbolt 2, and then there's a new Thunderbolt coming out that's supposed to go up to 40, but
it's quick.
But if USB 3.1 and Type-C is ubiquitous and it's everywhere, then that's probably going to be the preferred thing compared to Thunderbolt, which seems a little bit more niche. Right. Okay.
Was that it?
That's all.
No, you have one more.
Oh, I have one more.
Yes, you do.
Oh, my last one's stupid, though.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know. It's stupid or it's not stupid, depending on who you are. The Galaxy S6.
Just mention it.
All right, we talked a little bit about the Galaxy S6, but this is the Galaxy S6. It has been shown in a picture.
6 appeal?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, look at that.
Wow, dude.
So first off, Samsung marketing department seems to have its head up its ass a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Like every once in a while they'll come through with something like, oh, that's funny, you really got Apple that time, but like 6 appeal.
But even this doesn't feel like a Samsung ad. It doesn't feel like the voice of Samsung.
Yeah. And it's just a shot from the edge, but basically the curved display and the display wrapping around the edges here, which they already did with the Note, I believe.
Right.
Now in the S6 it's going to curve
the Note
over
Edge.
The Note Edge, yeah. It's going to curve over both edges.
Right.
Okay,
that's cool.
Yeah,
okay.
And then that's the version for T-Mobile, and then I think AT&T also has one. And I'm sorry, Samsung, but 6 appeal is terrible.
Yeah, don't do that.
Terrible.
That's bad.
Really
Okay.
bad. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's really all I have to say about
All
that.
right.
It's early, it's phone hype, and they're expected to do a launch event for that on the 3rd.
Oh, retail launch?
No, I'm mixing that up with.
Is that an actual?
I thought I had. Oh, I'm sorry. It's going to be unveiled on March 1st.
Okay.
At an event.
Unveiled.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Cool. All right, but that ends the first half of Awesome Hardware.
That's right.
But stay there. We're going to cut the stream really quick, and we'll be right back
Don't
with
move.
Kyle's half of Awesome
turn.
Hardware. Kyle's half is typically of poorer quality than my half.
That
but
is
you should stick
bullshit.
Around. You should stick around anyway to see how many times Kyle can curse on my stream. That's what, I'm going to have to bleep all these out, Kyle.
I know.
I'm just kidding.
That's why I'm cursing in your segment.
I'm going to leave them there.
In
I'm
your-
going to
in your
drop
part
so
of the
many
stream.
F-bombs in your segment.
Mine's
Thanks for
gonna be
watching
all
this
sweet
video,
quick.
though, guys. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and other things. Oh, buy shirts. You can buy shirts at either of our stores at store.pulsehardware.net or
And
at,
AwesomeSauceNetwork.com.
AwesomeSauceNetwork.com.
Yes.
Thank you for watching Paul's half of the show, and click the link in the description to go over and watch the second half over on Kyle's channel. And I'm going to stop streaming now. Thanks for being here.